Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Matea Rentia, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another Your Friday 5, which is always our quickest moment where we think about one topic, whether it be a recipe, a mindset moment, things like that. You know, this week, a lot of patients I've been talking about, I have patients where they have lost a lot of body fat and they reach a point where they want to continue to go, but their body's not as happy to release weight anymore. And the one thing that I realized was really the thing for a lot of patients this week is that they needed to reassess what was hungry and what was enough for them with food. And I think this is something that's really tricky because you get stuck into autopilot at some point with food. You have worked out new processes, you're oftentimes repeating a lot of things, and you're doing the same things every single day. You don't want to constantly be thinking about it. But the problem is that you get used to that place. You start to get in maintenance in that zone. And so there's this moment that's required where you need to, again, put some focus toward it, turn the TV off, turn the distractions off, and you need to see, do I actually need all this food? And again, I always want to be so cautious when I say that because I really don't always want to imply, oh, it's just eating less. But my point is this, that you really start to tune in and say, hey, am I distracted sometimes when I'm eating? Or am I actually, is half my plate veggies? Or have the carbohydrates kind of crept up on me? Am I actually getting more liberal with the noodle portions? And it doesn't feel incredible for me. Let me just see if I could. I love this. Brooke Simonson said the other day on our nutrition group call within the clinic, she said, hey, how can I double the protein? How can I double the fiber? And how can I half the fat? I love that. What a great concept, right? Because you're looking at how can you increase those good fibers, the things that are going to fill you up, the things that are going to help your gut microbiome where you're going to feel amazing. How can you up the protein so you can support the muscle and satiety and all of those things? And it's not that all fats are bad or that fat's going to make you fat. That's not it. It's that you might look for opportunities where you can optimize the nutrition of what you're having. And maybe you don't notice. She gave a great example where she might not use oil in the pan. She might use like a steamer technique for the veggies and then later drizzle a little bit of olive oil. So she still gets those great fats, but it's not using as much potentially. And so it's just little things like that where you just start to look at, hey, is there something that I'm doing where I can do it differently? So for me, I come back to breakfast in the past, maybe had like 2 pieces of bread plus all these other things. And with time, I really got to, unless it's like a nut and seed bread, like a dark rye bread or something that has a really high fiber content, I'm talking 10 plus grams of fiber, I'm usually not going to have a high carbohydrate bread only content as part of my breakfast. I'm much more likely to have eggs, to have Greek yogurt. Maybe I throw some berries in there just for some flavor, but it's not carbohydrate heavy. My dinners are no longer built around noodles, right? It's not like a plate of noodles with a little something else. It's like all the other things with a little side of noodles if I'm going to do that. I want to just bring this up that if you've been on autopilot, you might need to take some energy and think, what are the new behaviors and things that I want to practice? I've been going through this addiction course. It's really excellent. I want to make sure to make my way through it before I say, hey, go do this course, but I've been really liking it. And one of the things he talks about is you really need to decide when you're going to do it and then practice it, right? And the goal is not that it's always perfect, but it's that you decide when you're going to practice these things. And then it's a muscle. You need to actually practice these things again and again. So when you're thinking about what are these things that I might want to change to break through the next level that might be hungry and enough for you? You need some focus and attention and energy for that. That's not going to happen on its own, because if you got used to portion sizes, if you got used to what you're bringing to work or how you're snacking or what you're doing, let's look at, is there maybe a snack that I want to eliminate because I'm not even hungry? It's habit. I'm joining other people in the break room at that time. Let's do an audit. Let's think about one area that we could work on. Let's think about one zone where could I optimize the meal a little bit more? And you focus on that and you redo that, you are going to need some attention to it. Oftentimes you'll hear me talk about like a monk meal where we don't have distractions. And I know this is easier said than done. I know that. But you might just want to make sure I'm going to turn off everything And I want to tell you something, when you are going to eat in silence, it is such a different experience. You're with your food, you're focused on it, you're thinking about how the food tastes, you're thinking about how you feel, you're focused on what your stomach's doing, you're just so present with yourself. And you end up with such a different experience at the end of the meal compared to if you had been watching an episode or distracted in another capacity. So just consider that. I just wanted to bring up today that I had really noticed that with a few patients that I said, well, when's the last time that you challenged these beliefs about what would be enough for you for a meal or what the composition of the meal looked like? And all of them said, oh, it's been a really long time. And I get it because a lot of us are focused on grams of protein and grams of fiber, or do I have the rainbow on my plate? We all have things that are amazing and great. But then there's this point where if we want to reach the next step, we've got to, again, come back to that consciousness level of, okay, where am I going to put my energy and what am I going to try? All right, I hope that today's episode was helpful. Make sure that if you are wanting to do that December challenge, that you sign up now because, again, it's really interesting. The spots are filling up quickly for that. So if you're someone that wanted to do it, I want to make sure that you have a spot in that. If you have any questions, always let me know. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you Monday. That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend, listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.